This is the Boom Podcast. The podcast that shows you how to build an amazing business so you can build an amazing life. The Boom Podcast starts now.
Well, we got to edit that out right out the gate. Although, that's a good question. So we always talk and laugh during the intro.
Yeah.
And our voiceover talent, who we've got in a secret chamber, thanks to the hard cut.
No, it'll fade out.
She always says,
version.
she always says it starts now. So Todd said something inappropriate right before the starts now, but I think technically he's fine, right? I think that's maybe permissible.
We'll have to see on the last cut.
So I can say whatever I want while the music's
until
playing?
she
Is that
says,
what you're saying?
well, no, until she says starts now, because then you have a hot mic.
Oh, okay.
Hot mic.
Got it. Hot mic.
We don't want to make a mistake there with a hot mic. That's never bit anybody in their career, has it?
No.
The old hot mic, it'll get you.
No hot mic trick.
Who was somebody just recently was hot mic?
Yeah, it was Tom Brenneman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bad look. It's a bad look.
Bad. That was bad.
That was bad.
That was
Welcome to
pretty
the big
bad.
show, everybody. Mics are hot, and we are ready to
Mics are
roll. We are happy to have you with us as Season 4 rolls on. Let's get a nice cleansing of the palate with the Season 4 sounder, Christian.
Okay,
Let's
hold on a
just do
second.
that.
There we go.
Season 4, it's the Boom Podcast, Season 4.
We have spoken at length on this podcast about curating your mindset and getting in a good headspace, and that is the thing that I listen to daily to get myself in the right headspace.
I'm going to put just a little cloud on that.
Oh, please.
Christian,
ruin it for me, please.
There's a lower part where, and I'm wondering if Christian and Jordy played a little joke on us.
Oh, tell me more.
Because I think Jordy says, "Is the Boom Podcast," but it could also be the Poop Podcast.
Oh, let's run that back. Let's listen very carefully.
Deep. Listen deep.
Try to talk. Tell us when it comes.
Season
Okay. All right, listen here.
Oh, yeah.
Podcast.
It does.
Did you guys
Caught
pull
us,
fast one?
yeah.
Did you pull
Why
fast one?
could you not have brought this up on the final Season 4 wrap?
Because now you're going to hear it every time. It's going to be awesome.
The Poop Podcast.
Oh, great. Dang it. Now my mindset is ruined. Welcome back to the big show, everybody. I'm Terry. That's Megan. Hi, Megan.
Hey.
That's
Hi.
producer Christian. Hi, producer Christian. And he mouthed that inexplicably on the audio podcast. And to my left is Todd. Hi, Todd.
Hi, your number one stunner with the Poop Podcast. Boom.
You said boom after the Poop podcast. Oh, that's funny. And I almost wore a black t-shirt today, so I'm glad I didn't. Oh, that's well coordinated by us. Welcome to the big show, everybody. We do want to engage. We want to interact. If you're listening in late 2020, then we're still doing COVID, social distancing, quarantining, all those things, right? So we want to hear from you virtually if possible. Email info@boomrealestatepodcast.com. And we're rolling on our virtual season, our season of virtuality. And today we're talking about cultivating a killer virtual culture. I feel like that's easy to stumble on all those words, so I said them slowly and carefully.
Yeah.
Cultivating a killer virtual culture. Yeah, you can. Okay.
Can I
tested
invite
it, yeah.
all the people out there? Like, I have not had a stalker, and I feel like...
No.
but,
Megan
No.
says no.
but I
Megan
want
says
to.
no.
I want to lay some ground
No,
rules.
Megan says no.
But
Yeah.
I'll
No.
lay ground rules.
I don't know if you can lay stalker
Yes, you
ground
can.
rules
We're gonna
that
just
are respected,
Yes.
I think
you
that's part
can
of the
stalk me, people
what makes
out
it stalking
there.
is it's unwanted.
right?
Yeah, you're allowed
yeah.
to stalk me as long as you keep your social distance. So 6 feet.
social distance
I will allow
stalking.
stalking within 6 feet. Outside of 6 feet.
I'm not sure. I
should
think
say.
they call that a restraining order.
That is
That's
a
my restraining
Right,
order. A
right.
6 foot restraining
That's a
order.
near proximity restraining order. That also allows someone to be outside your window.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, okay.
Can we just fix this in post?
Yeah. Should I cut this whole section
Because
out?
I'm like collateral damage in
That's
the
right.
Hold on a
stalker
second.
for
Todd's
Todd.
cell phone.
And
just
don't forget your
Second
family.
rule.
Right.
Second rule, you
Our
can't
kids.
stalk Megan. You You can't stalk my kids.
Wait,
Okay.
that's
You
not
can't
possible
stalk my
then.
dog.
Yeah.
You can stalk my chickens. That's fine. And my fish, the outdoor fish, not the inside fish.
Okay.
And myself.
How are the
Okay?
chickens doing?
But
Can we get a
all
chicken
6
report?
feet. 6 feet from
Chicken
all
update.
my animals,
Can
too.
we get a chicken update? How are the
They're
chickens
doing
doing?
all right. We're at 9.
Nine?
Standing strong at
they're-
9.
yeah,
I
we're
think
pretty
we
good.
figured
Are
this
they
out
making?
now.
We have-
Are they making chickens, or did you buy more?
No,
Oh, no.
that we
Yeah.
got rid of the rooster. Get rid of that dude. He
Yeah,
was
we-
a little.
no,
He was,
Yeah.
he was a
that.
little cocky. See what I did there? All right.
We're gonna have
Ladies and
so many
gentlemen, the
stalkers
comedy
after that
style Todd Ferris.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
boy.
got nothing to add
Maggie,
to
where are we
that.
going
All
today?
right.
Well, no, hold on, because
Okay,
the
okay.
stalking thing, I want to say one more thing about the
Okay.
stalking thing, because as we've mentioned many times in the podcast, Todd and I were in a band together back in the day. Todd was the worst at, we're all having a good time at the bar or the college show or wherever we were, and then Todd would announce either where he lived, which we lived with him, or what hotel we were staying at.
Nice.
And say, let's keep the party going after the show, which is how we've had real stalkers wait in the parking lot of the hotel. That's a story for another podcast. Wink, wink. At some point. By the way, I just said wink, wink, and blinked like a psycho. All right, Megan, where are we going today?
There's so much to say
sorry about
there.
that. Sorry about that.
Okay, no, it's good. Okay, so today, like Terry said, we're talking about culture and your team culture, and really just want to talk about and emphasize how important culture is. I think it's probably
Yeah.
the number one piece of business when you have a culture with your clients or a culture with your brokerage or your team that is so important, but we just don't even recognize it until
Right.
it's too late.
Yep.
And you
Right.
wake up one day and you realize it's just a poopy culture and everybody's negative and unhappy and it's not good.
Should be the word today.
So,
Just firing back on the
Word of
on
the
the
day.
sounder.
Should we hit it again?
Oh, there it is. Wait, wait.
Season 4, Sister Boom Podcast. Season 4.
Crisis averted. Crisis averted. You've ruined that for me now.
yeah, and it was so good too.
Thanks,
but
Todd.
I have so few joys in life, and you just ruined one of the
Smashed
few.
it.
That's
It was
right.
so good.
Well, no, but what you're saying is right. Culture is everything, and it's funny too because we are a virtual brokerage,
Yep.
and we have been virtual as a team for a long time. But the reason we have been able to recruit and retain, I think, is
Yes.
culture.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a big piece of it.
Here's what's crazy is culture is this like foundation and it helps your recruiting, it helps your retention, it helps your brand at the end of the day. Like it feeds in, it's the basis of all these other, facets that we've talked about in these fingers. So if you don't have a good culture, you don't have a good foundation to stand on. So that's why it's really important. You have to pay attention to it all the time and then work purposely towards that, both with your clients and your agents. So we're going to talk through how to do that.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about it from the agent standpoint, from
Yep.
the brokerage standpoint. But I also want to say this may feel like an episode where it's geared towards teams or towards a brokerage,
Right.
and you may be like, "I'm a solo agent. This does not apply." I beg to differ because I think that how you work and even the peripheral people that you work with, your vendors, your partners, your title, your lender, all those people, you have a way of working that is a culture.
Yes.
If you have an assistant, the two of you have a culture. Even how you interact with your clients and your process
Yes.
is a culture of itself. So
Exactly.
we're saying be intentional about this. So even as a solo agent,
Yep.
this still applies to you too.
Yep, exactly.
All right, let's go, Todd. What do you got, buddy?
All right, so I'm going to start on the agent side of things and just trying to talk towards that culture and what it means and how it's important to you. So the question, I guess, would be to the agents are who are you? What's your vision? Who do you want to work with? Basically, like we've talked about creating avatars for your ideal clients, but this doesn't just have to be the client. It also could be the brokerage that you're in, the team that you're on.
Right.
Is that the culture fit for you? So have that vision. If you're growing a team or if you have aspirations to grow a team or create your own brokerage or something like that, what does that look like? So you want to make sure that you're working to really, truly clarify what you mean so that you can lean into
Yeah.
that and make sure that you know what your culture is. That's why businesses have vision statements and mission statements and all those things. Part of that is to create that culture, and I'd say more on the vision statement than the mission statement, is to create that culture and make sure that you're very clearly embodying and defining what your culture is. And if you do that, what ends up happening is if you have that culture, if you defined it and you live it and you lean into it, you will attract other people that also want to be a part of that culture. And then guess what? Now you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people, which usually most people prefer to hang out with like-minded people because they think like you and they're not adversarial and they're not getting into fights with you. And
just more pleasant.
We need a fight.
No,
we don't need a fight. What?
Nope.
I feel like we're getting along too well these days.
You're amongst ourselves.
Listen,
we need to fight.
Yeah.
Your stalker will cause enough
Oh,
fights.
perfect.
Oh, that's
Todd.
true.
It'll
That's
be
true.
You're going to do it
fine.
for the health of our podcast.
For the health of the podcast, please stalk Todd, but not Megan. Okay.
I don't know if
What
I've
could go
ever
wrong?
heard somebody say you're healthier if you fight, but
That's
that's
right.
fine.
Oh, healthy conflict. You've heard of healthy conflict.
But that's not fight, right?
Well,
That
that's what we're
seems
gonna
very
call it now.
aggressive. Okay.
Yeah, earlier in season 4, we talked about boxing and boxing tips.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
okay.
right.
One of the
That's
things
right.
that came out at the time was we think Todd does want to box.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
For
Is that
sure.
correct?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, so fighting's on your mind.
It's on
I'm
my
watching
mind.
this show on Netflix right now called The Kingdom, and it's like it's a MMA gym, and it's like a family and of brothers, a son and some brothers, and all this. It's
Is
pretty
it
good.
fiction or real?
No, it's a drama.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's fake, but it's good. But in one of them, they're like, until you get into a ring, you don't know what kind of person you are. Can you take a hit without running away? Or
Mike
do
Tyson, everybody has
do
a
you
plan
get
until they get
more?
hit in the face.
Yeah, so you just need to get in there, Todd, and get to boxing.
That's right.
See what happens.
Yeah.
So, all right. So next is knowing your brand. Okay, and this is going to help with all of it. So create a strong brand with your voice.
Yeah.
And then that's going to, like Todd said, attract the type of clients that you want and that you want to work with, and that'll help create your culture. So, for instance, as an example, we use humor.
Right.
That's part of our personal agent brand because we run a brokerage and we do trainings and speaking and all of that, but we also all have our own personal business, on the ground. So with that, we use humor. We all lean into humor. And so people that come to us because we're promoting that, our brand and our voice and all of our marketing strategies and social media leans into this humor.
Mm-hmm.
So the people we attract are okay with that. They want to laugh. They want to have a fun time while going through this experience. And everybody's happy because they know who we are, we know who they are, and we have a good time while going through something stressful and a big milestone in their life. And then they refer us more people like that. So by creating this culture of fun, professionalism, but fun, we now enjoy our business more. We've created this culture around it, and it's really healthy. I can't remember, Terry or Todd just alluded to this earlier as well, but also as an agent, you're doing this for your clients, you're creating a culture for them to be a part of in your business, but you do need to look up. What team are you on? What brokerage
Yeah.
are you a part of? Flipping the script on that, they probably picked you, but you also need to pick them.
Right.
Are you where you're going to you're
yeah.
happy in that culture? Is it a positive culture? Are you thriving in that culture because it's a good one? So it's really important too as an agent to think through all that.
Well, and as a podcaster, you have to think, am I in the right podcast? Just because I sat down at a table with microphones
Yeah.
and
Is
we've
this
done
right?
it for 4 seasons, is this the right podcast that I should be applying my talents to?
I think the
I
clear
don't
answer
know.
is no, which is why I'm starting the Poop Podcast.
Is that we're starting to fight? Here comes the fight.
Here it is right
Here it
now.
comes. All right, let's talk brokerage side, Todd. Let's go
Yeah.
over there.
So on the other side, it's as I don't want to say it's this simple, but it's this simple. Is simply recruit the right people.
Right,
If you're
yeah.
a brokerage, if you're a team, recruit the right people. And you're going to find every once in a while you're going to miss the mark on somebody. Don't be afraid to fire the wrong people.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah,
Cut
yeah.
ties
I mean-
with the wrong people. But
Yeah.
if you are surrounding yourself, if you are building that, and you're setting expectations, we do this with our brokerage because we like to have a fun culture, because we like to keep things positive, and we will have talks when people come into the brokerage, and we will state that to them, that this is intentional, what we do, the culture that we've built, this is all very intentional. We love what we do.
Yep.
We do not want a cancer within this.
Right.
If you ever have an issue with anything, please come to us. Don't go telling everybody else about it. And, it's just one of those things like that can fester. Those things can fester when it probably was a really easy, problem to solve.
Yeah.
So why not come to us? Let's talk about it. Let's solve it. And let's figure out how we can keep this thing going so that we can keep everything positive out in there. And that's just, I think, a key part of it. But like I said before, eventually you'll mess up. You might recruit somebody that isn't the right fit.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not a bad thing to go to them and say, hey, I just don't think this is the right fit for you. Because if it's not a right fit for you, it's most likely not a
Right.
right fit for them either.
That's right.
And it honestly is the most important thing. And I think just being okay saying, hey, that's not the right person. After talking to them and interviewing them, that it's okay not to recruit everybody. It's in your best interest to have a lean, mean fighting machine versus a giant, more quantity versus quality. So it is worth it. Make sure you're careful on that. Step 2.
Well, you know what, Megan? Before you get to step 2.
Okay.
It's time for Todd's silly segment.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Oh, Christian.
Hold on a second.
Oh, boy.
I don't know where it went.
Get on the train.
Oh, there it is.
No, we don't need it. No, shut it. No, we're playing it. Nobody listen to this.
So much conflict. So much conflict. I like that you screamed, nobody listened to this. We would need listeners to be... hey, this is... So continuing our theme of this season, saying a profession that we are so glad we're not.
Right.
And no offense to these professions typically, but really the last time I've seen a bank teller, I can't even think the last time I've seen a bank teller.
Oh, yeah, go inside the bank.
Virtual.
Yeah.
I had to get a cashier's check, so I had to
Did
see
you?
them. They won't let you do it from the drive-thru.
Oh, they won't.
Oh,
Why?
dang it.
I don't know.
Oh, just to see your face,
Yeah,
I guess. When they look at you. I don't know.
I mean, there I am.
All right.
I'm just 10 feet away. It's not like I
Right.
disappeared.
Right. What if you're just wearing a mask in your car? So this is, aren't you glad you're not
I'm wearing a mask in there.
I know,
too.
that's true. It's worse
Yeah,
for you to...
you
It's better for you to stay in your car and they can see your face from 10
Right.
feet
Right, I don't
than
know.
6 feet with a mask on.
So then it got
Oh.
more confusing because I
They-
said, do I have to come in? And she said, well, we really like people to come in.
I
Well,
didn't-
that's not the same thing as yes.
Right.
No,
I
you
didn't-
could
Yeah.
have...
So the
I coulda
answer
stayed in the
is
car.
no.
Yeah, you could
I
have.
didn't mean like a Corona mask. I meant like a Tom Cruise who's
Oh.
Mission Impossible. You've got a
Oh,
mask
yeah,
over.
yeah.
She looked for like somebody else.
But there's no
It's a
difference
nod.
these days.
in Tom Cruise.
Like you can wear a complete ski mask, right, around in public. That's it.
It is funny. The other day we were about to go into a store or something like that, and Megan like puts her mask on and then puts sunglasses on.
I might have had a hat
Yeah.
on too.
I'm like,
yeah.
And a
are we
hat.
robbing the place? What's
Yeah,
happening
you
right
look
now?
that way. Yeah,
Let's
it looks
go.
that way.
Can you imagine being a bank teller in these days? Like as people come
man.
in,
That'd be
they're
hard.
always
Yeah, it'd be
masked.
hard.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, is this the
No.
one? Is this the one?
How about a convenience store? Ugh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at night about 2 a.m.
I wonder if crime in
Wait.
convenience stores have gone up. If you work in a convenience store and you happen to listen to our podcast,
Yeah, I'm sure they do. No, I'm sure they do.
let us know if you're currently being held up. All right.
Currently.
So
Is
this
that info at
is
boomrealestatepodcast.com?
just text
Is that
us
who
real
they-
quick. Yeah.
Okay.
Aren't you glad you're not a bank teller? All right.
Okay.
Here's a story for you. For you.
For you.
A customer came in with a taped up $100 note. That's fun that they called it a note.
right.
$100 note to exchange for a normal one. Then, as I went to unlock my cash box, still holding her bill, she said, "Yeah, my dog got to the bill. If it was a 1 or a 5, I wouldn't have done anything. But since it was 100, I had to get it."
Poop
I
podcast.
immediately dropped her bill. Her dog had eaten the bill, and once he had passed it, she got it out of the poop and taped it back together.
no.
She assured me that she had washed it a ton.
Why did you just don't. Sometimes silence is okay. Sometimes just
Right.
I mean, just
because at first when I was reading that, like, oh, the dog tore it up.
shoot it up.
Right.
No.
No.
Pooped it
no,
out.
the dog ingested it. And yeah,
It's
poop
really
podcast.
disgusting.
Are you really trying to make the poop podcast? I'm wondering now. I feel like that's your third opportunity. The third
I
time you
once had
squeezed it in.
I don't want to go too deep into
no.
that
Thank
whole.
you.
Good, because we don't either.
Stop. Look at Megan right now.
I might
Look
have
at
just quit.
Megan.
I think
Megan's
I might have
face.
just quit.
She was
Did you quit? Are you
There was
walking
a
off?
look of
I think I'm
such
done.
You walking off the set?
disappointment
Bye, Megan.
in her husband. That was something. Oh, man.
That probably won't make it.
We'll edit all this out in post.
Yeah. I once had a guy tell me like that his dog had swallowed like a dish towel,
Yeah.
and it made it through.
Can we
the
close the
system.
segment? Are we closing?
Except for like 25% of it, he had to help.
No.
Close it.
Get on the train. Segment's closed.
We just had to sit there while it happened to
I
us.
know. It's
You ever had a
torture.
friend that
No.
has one of those dogs that
Next.
like the
I
anal
think we
glands?
closed.
Wait,
We
wait,
closed
wait.
the segment.
Megan,
All right, I'm moving
let's
on.
move along.
Okay,
Treat them
number
like you
two.
want to be treated. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that loudly.
Step 2.
Yes.
Treat your agents and your team and your staff like you want to be treated,
Yeah, Todd. Treat your podcast buddies the way you want to be treated.
I almost
Jeez.
spit out my A&W root beer. Christian and I
Which
were
is
joking about
aged.
this. It says on the label, made with aged vanilla. And I'm like,
I don't even know what that means.
I'd rather have the fresh stuff if you don't mind.
I want to get to them pretty quick on vanilla.
There's some.
If they couldn't sell it at the stores, they're like, give it to A&W. They'll use that.
They'll put it to work.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, you're going to treat them like you want to be treated. And basically, I mean, this is the golden rules, guys. We know. We have to treat people like you want to be treated.
Right.
It's going to create a partnership, a friendship, and positivity in your culture. It's going to create esprit de corps.
That's right.
Okay? Which means you
Fancy
want to
word.
get everybody on board to row on the ship so it goes in the right direction.
Spirit of the military corps.
That's correct.
Yes.
Does not mean September in French.
For you boom circle people. I did not know that word until you used it like in episode 7 or something. You used it for the first time on this podcast. I was like, what is that
Yes.
that she just said?
there's
You
fun,
taught it to
right?
me. I've
Well,
learned
there's-
so much from you.
Was there a store called Esprit or something like that?
Esprit,
There was, yeah, but I didn't.
And the E
I
was
didn't know
like,
anything.
yeah.
I don't remember. I didn't know.
I think it was
how
women's.
you
There was
said
a
that.
brand,
Wasn't it?
like a clothing
Yeah,
brand.
Esprit. Esprit de corps, yeah.
I was like, they misspelled spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always
That's
thought that,
odd.
too.
Trying to be cutesy on the word spirit.
Well, here's the deal with that, though. You are leading a volunteer army when you have a brokerage and a team.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't have to be there. They're probably 1099 if they're agents.
Right.
You know, it is a volunteer army that you have to get all those geese in a row to fly the same direction with a good, positive culture. So it also, if you treat people the way you want to be treated, that creates loyalty. In our brokerage, we basically sat down and said, as agents, what do we want to see? Let's create it.
As an
And
army of geese,
As an army.
to mix
As
some
a
metaphors.
gaggle of army of geese. That's
right.
Army gaggle.
Yeah, stay with it. Just stay with it.
I'm just not
Little
letting you go.
uniforms,
No.
little duck uniforms.
They're so cute. They're the
Little
hat,
epaulets.
the little military hats. Anyway, okay, so this will create loyalty because they see that you care about them, and that goes a long way. When you do something for an agent, it will change your culture and that loyalty. And some examples of that are how you pay them. I mean, that's a big one. Incentives and recognition. Here's the deal. Oh no, I was going to say a quote. Now I can't.
No, please.
Find it.
No, share
It
it
was
with us,
by
Megan.
it was a Mary Kay Ash quote. I do know
Yes.
that, not Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
And it was something like $1 worth of recognition is is worth
That's my
$100 of something. Dang it! I'll
love
look it
what's
up
happening.
later.
Recognition is worth $100 of
something.
Makeup.
Of
Money.
aged vanilla.
Basically, it was just saying, listen, I could just say, great job, Terry, and put your name on
you don't have to
something.
pay me for
and I don't
anything.
have to give you a bunch of money.
That's right.
I don't have to give you gold or diamonds. I just need to recognize that you did something awesome.
Yes.
Okay? And it's really important to people.
That's why anytime I go through a drive-thru and I get food, as soon as I get it, I go, hey, you did a great job. And then I
then-
peel out.
Yep.
Okay. Other examples, dip when they dip. You know, if
I
they
dip,
take
you
a
dip,
hit.
we dip.
I'm just going to keep going. Fight for them when you need to.
Podcast fight.
Yes. Basically, stand up for your agents if you need to, and then care about their life. You know, little Johnny graduated high school. Great. Send him a note that says, hey, congratulations, Johnny. You know, or something great happens. They hit bonus. Let them know. Like, pay attention to them and just recognize what they're doing and show them you love
$1
them.
worth.
Yes,
said
just
$1 worth of recognition. And
$100.
$1
Dang
worth
it.
of recognition.
I'll find it.
You
You
said
guys.
care about their, and when you said that, it sounded like you said Carol, which made me think of Carol Baskin.
Okay.
And I just saw that
She's
she
on
was
Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars.
That's a big deal.
Yes. Look at
I
her
might
go.
act-
Are we
actually
dating her?
watch
We're
it.
dating this episode.
yeah, we're timestamping it on accident.
Timestamp.
That's fine, though. Most people are listening to this for current events. So
That's true.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
our biggest audience
True.
chunk wants to know the latest scuttlebutt.
Which we bring to them.
Which we bring to
usually.
them.
I mean,
Which we bring to them.
Let's talk about bonding.
Yeah. You looked me straight in the eyes when you said that. That was awkward. Like I just felt uncomfortable.
This is one of the things about being virtual that you really have to stay intentionally focused on is creating the bonds, keeping the bonds, having those bonds. And so there's a lot of ways to do it. We're going to go through them real quickly for you. For instance, meetings. So even though you're virtual, you still should have meetings. Now, these meetings could be live. They could be virtual still. It's your choice. They can be large groups like sales meetings. They can be small groups like masterminds, brain bashes, coaching sessions, whatever you want. But The key is make sure that you're doing them consistently and make sure that people are well aware of when they are in advance so that they can attend those, whether they're virtual or in person. Also, what about fun events like trivia nights, social events, get together with families, client events? Again, a lot of this is based on what type of market you're in, where you are, what type of world we're in with pandemic versus no pandemic. But there's a lot of opportunities to have fun in a meeting or in a large group, small group type setting. And those types of things go a long way. Because again, as you probably know, or maybe you've heard us say this before, or other people say this before, people don't leave brokerages, they leave managers, all right? And so if you're a manager, if you're a team leader, if whatever the case is, if you are just an agent, as Terry talked about before, regardless if you're on wherever you are, your client are still going to be your sphere. So you need to make sure that you're doing some events for them and keeping it fun.
Yeah.
All right. And then we also would talk towards incentive trips. We love this from a team standpoint when we were a team, and now that we're a brokerage, we love it in the terms of we incentivize our agents to sell. And if they sell and they get a certain point, they get to go on a trip with us, and they get more stuff paid for them if they're selling even more.
Right.
And it's really exciting for them, which they love, and we know that pushes them, which is
That's
good.
fun. I did hear, not in real estate, but I have a friend who runs this small company, and he had a guy that worked with them. And so at the company, one of the big incentives was he would throw a giant holiday party, like a giant holiday party. But there's one guy that hated his job in this company, and he's like, I'm going to quit, but I'm definitely waiting till after the holiday party, and then I'm going to quit. Well, my friend that runs it found out, fired him before he could quit. How great is that?
Before the party.
So anyway, don't tell
really
people
funny.
that you're going to quit after the fun incentive is over, because they'll take it away. All right, Megan.
Oh, I'm going to wrap
Oh
up
no,
one more
Todd,
thing.
you're talking about
so those are the
communication.
meetings.
I'm sorry,
and
buddy.
everything. No, you're good. So creating bonds through meetings, but also through communication. So when you're not physically together or through a Zoom meeting or something like that, you can also use communication as a way to continue to those touches. And this would be the same to anybody, whether you're working in your sphere, working your team, working your brokerage, whatever the case is. Send out things like weekly memo emails, all the goodness that you have in 1 week. So just updates. Here's some changes that we've seen in the market. Here's something new you should be aware of. Here's some celebration. Those types of things. Send those out once a week. Individual emails, personal text messages, calls, videos. All those things go a long way when you personalize it. So if you think those weekly memo emails are not really personalized, so you need to make sure that you have those personal touches as well. A great way to do it, by the way, is social media, because you can watch your sphere, you can watch whoever, and you can stalk them, if you will. And basically, you can watch. And the great thing is when you see something that happened that's celebratory, because that's what a lot of people put on social media, then you hit them up with a text message instead of going on their social media and saying that, oh, you're one of 100. Actually, you see most like the happy birthday ones are the ones that kill me, because there's like 400 people that say happy birthday to the person, to the point where now you don't even read through them all. You're just like, hey, thank you so much to everybody for giving me a birthday meal.
Right.
So why not hit them with a text message instead that says happy birthday?
Right.
Zig when they zag.
Zig when they zag.
Yes, when I zig, you zag, we zig.
Abe Lincoln.
I think that was it. And then lastly, the online water cooler. We use Slack. We would highly suggest this if you're going to be virtual, that you make sure that you have some way to make sure that there's still communication. People can do that open communication in a tech-friendly way. So go check out Slack. There you go.
Love it. And lastly, just pay attention to your brand. It ties it. What you put out into the world is what your culture you'll bring in, and then that'll create your culture. So what you're putting out there, just know what your brand is and lean into that, and you'll be great.
There it is.
Great, guys.
Killer virtual culture. It's huge. It's more important than ever that you are intentional about this. So make sure you get it done and do it how you want it with intention. We want to hear from you. Email info@boomrealestatepodcast.com and visit theboomcircle.com. Find out if registration is now open, or you can get on the waiting list there to get into the Boom Circle. We'll see you next time on the Poop Podcast. It's not. It's the Boom